I'm John Dave, I'm a Romany Gypsy. My family's travelled these lands, as far as I'm aware, for 3, 4, maybe 500 years.
John has always lived on the road, a nomadic way of life, travelling across the country with his family.
That is my family tradition, and that is a culture that I am and my children are very, very proud of. And that's something that we are willing to stand up for and fight for.
Appleby Horse Fair is the largest gathering of Gypsy, Roma and traveller communities in Europe. It's a place to buy and sell horses, catch up with old friends, have fun and find love. Thousands come from across the UK and even abroad, travelling for weeks to arrive. In the UK, there's an estimated 300,000 to 500,000 Gypsy, Roma and traveller people. Around 60,000 live in caravans, a number that increases at this time of the year. These communities have often complained of being marginalised, but now a new conflict with the government is bringing travelling people like John out, wanting to raise awareness about their situation.
We stopped in 7 or 8 different stopping places. The council or the settled people say they're unauthorised. They're going to make us criminals for just simply living the way we want to live.
Appleby Horse Fair has been going on for over 200 years and it's the highlight of the year for the UK's Gypsy, Roma and traveller communities. But now, many here are saying that the government's new policing bill is placing not just all of this under threat, but even their way of life. Stand by your man. The government's Police, Crime, Sentencing and Courts Bill is a vast new piece of legislation that will reform criminal justice in England and Wales. It stands to enhance police powers in a number of contentious areas, and Part 4 of the bill will turn trespass from a civil offence to a criminal one. Crucially, it will criminalise unauthorised sites, so if travellers fail to leave and have caused or are perceived as likely to cause significant damage or distress, it could land them in prison for up to 3 months, even when they have nowhere else to go. Faced with such a stark threat to their way of life, many have begun organising against the bill.
We put out a call on social media, different community members got in touch, so founded a board which is 6 ethnic members of Gypsies, Roma and travellers, which is unique across the UK.
For most of these people, it's all they've ever known, travelling, and they're trying to stop that. And I think it's racist to do that. You can't stop someone's culture, what people have known their whole life.
We need to adopt negotiated stopping nationally across the country. What that basically means is an unauthorised encampment rolls into town, the local council go out, they set up bins, they set up waste disposal, there's a contract of behaviour entered into in a period of time and they're put into a piece of appropriate land. That's what we need. We need to be accommodated.
En route to the fair, it's not hard to find an example of an unauthorised encampment where relations between the travellers and settled community have turned sour. Unwanted visitors in Barnard Castle. Martin Clark found himself dealing with about 25 vehicles and 100 people pitched up at a local beauty spot in the run-up to the Appleby Fair.
From a town council point of view, as the tenant to this land, we were completely powerless. They intimidated people on here, people who walk through here with their dogs, skinning rabbits in front of them or abusing them.
For Martin and the local residents, the civil process to remove their unruly guests took too long. It took 4 days to serve an eviction notice. On the 5th day, the travellers upped and left for the fair. The waste left in their wake took the town council days to clear.
White goods, kennels, excrement, human and otherwise, intestines of animals, large and small, a goose, and just huge amounts of rubbish.
Would you support this new bill that's coming in?
Yes, I would support the bill. But you're asking at a time when we've just gone through 5 days of hell. Ask me perhaps in 2 weeks' time, and residents here perhaps would give us more considered opinion. Perhaps giving the police the power to remove them and move them on but without taking their homes away, yeah, maybe.
I'm not saying that some gypsies and travellers don't make a mess, because we have a tiny minority that do. We have a tiny minority of idiots in the exact same way as the settled community have.
Billy Welsh is the UK's Shira Rom, or head gypsy. He's a spokesperson on the issues which impact the Roma, Gypsy and traveller communities. So concerned is he by the threat of the bill and the fear it's causing in travelling communities, he's asked to sit down with the Home Secretary, Priti Patel.
Truthfully, I think it's a populist policy by a populist government who's looking at a very tiny minority who are basically defenceless against them because they've got such a majority in the Commons. It's a form of ethnic cleansing. It's just another nail in the coffin, eroding our way of life.
In the Conservative Party's last manifesto, they pledged to give the police more powers to tackle unauthorised traveller sites, including the ability to seize property and vehicles. But the police themselves have said that they don't want or need these powers. In fact, the National Police Chiefs Council have said that the issue is a planning one, and criminalising it is not the solution. And Parliament's Human Rights Committee that scrutinises bills agrees. It found that traveller communities often had little option than to set up unauthorised camps because local authorities are failing to build enough official sites. The Local Government Association told us councils were working hard to ensure the necessary provision.
So the bigger picture I see is then I will be locked up as a criminal for simply living my life. So the children then will be put into care homes. So what's going to happen to them long term? The only people that are going to be paying for this is society, the taxpayer. So how's that solving the problem? It's not.
The government told Newsnight, if people do not commit significant harms and if they leave when asked to by the police or landowner, they will not risk having their vehicle seized. There are measures in place for local authorities to provide authorised sites for travellers to reside on. The bill is with the House of Lords and on track to become law. But those we met in Appleby are ready to ramp up the pressure to get the government to think again. They'll be hitting the road to Manchester in early October for the Conservative Party conference, horses, traps and all. With hundreds of years of tradition to defend, they are in this for the long haul.